that massive tipping point in Archway is what started this law enforcement outreach where we're providing training across the country to thousands and thousands of cops, and very rarely at any cost to the agency or the taxpayer.
The following is a Big Sky Economic Development production.
Welcome to The Vault, a Montana-based business podcast where we highlight the people and ideas driving our region forward. I'm your host, Marcel Brewski.
You're listening to The Vault.
Joining us today on The Vault is someone I've been trying to get on for ages, Peter Johnson with Archway Defense, one of our Rock 31 members, doing some really cool things. You relocated to Montana about a year ago, and I can't wait to dive into that. We also have a voice that you're not familiar with, Vault listeners, which is Keith Hart, our Director of Entrepreneurship here at BSED. Keith, you want to say hi so people can hear your voice?
Hi, people, so you can hear my voice.
Yeah, okay. Because we don't video, so they don't know if it's Peter or... Well, now they'll know.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah. So, Peter, hi, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I know we've been talking about getting on the podcast for a while, so I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. You're just busy, so it's hard to pin you down.
True story.
But here we did. So, Peter, we like to just start these episodes with learning more about our guests. Like where they grew up. What was that like? So let's dive into it.
So I grew up in Minnesota.
Minnesota. You don't really have a Minnesota accent.
No, and that's actually on purpose. So my parents were originally from California, but they did not allow us to have a Midwestern accent.
How did they prevent that?
They corrected it.
Okay.
They wanted us to have a news anchor accent because it wouldn't be held against you in any work you did.
Okay.
Very deliberate. It was
intentionality.
Very intentional, specifically on my mother's part. She didn't want that. And I'm going to make fun of my former state. Oh, yeah, where you elongate vowels.
North Dakota does it too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Up on the lake on a boat. Absolutely horrible.
And you're sure you grew up in Minnesota?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
Nearly certain.
Okay.
Yeah, grew up in Minnesota on the west side of Minneapolis. And then was there till basically 9/11. Left Minnesota, went down to Texas for the military after the attacks, and did the military thing for 6 years. Came on back, worked for a small police department part-time.
Okay.
38 hours a week while I was finishing up my undergrad in criminal justice and law enforcement.
Wow. So growing up, I know you had like a handful of siblings.
Yeah, I'm one of 7, actually.
And where do you fall in line?
Third to the youngest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So more baby than older child.
That tracks.
Right?
Yeah. But I'm not middle.
You're not middle.
No. So I'm the one that was, I think after the middle, they just forgot.
I would say after that many, someone's left out all the time.
Correct.
The older siblings are taking care of the younger.
True story. I was left in a mine, like an actual mine. We were doing a family vacation.
Go on.
Yes.
This is like, what's the Christmas movie?
I was thinking like Great Outdoors, John Candy.
I was not thinking.
Bald Bear.
I was thinking, what's the one where he gets left?
Oh, Home Alone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's Peter.
But instead, it was an iron ore mine in northern Minnesota. So they all go up, and I'm just hanging out in the bottom of the mine. Like,
how old were you?
No idea. Very young.
Perfect.
I don't remember it, but there is a great photo of everybody up on top doing a family photo, and they're like,
minus
where's
Peter?
At least they realized you were gone.
Yeah.
And they're like, where's Peter?
I think it was somebody in the mine called up.
Fantastic.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
So it wasn't abandoned.
No, it was
a full working.
I think it was a working mine, and they had tours, and then we were on
Nothing like a toddler on a tour of a mine.
Knowing me, I probably enjoyed it. I probably found some really cool machines or a pickaxe and just throwing in work. But
so what was it like growing up with 7 siblings? That's a lot.
Honestly, it's fun because we're 14 years apart, so it's every 2 years.
Okay.
Everybody's on even years. But you can learn from each other. You can blame each other for everything. But now, I think if you want to look at it from a business perspective, the ROI on having that big of a family is phenomenal because everybody is so different. You've met families where it's kind of cookie cutters of each person. I don't think we could be further apart, which is pretty exciting.
I would like you to go through and rank your siblings from favorite to least favorite.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
We're kidding, but I mean,
I wouldn't do it.
Like, what was it like growing up? Like, what were the things you guys did?
Wow. Obviously back before internet and Nintendo came out at some point when I was very young, but no, we were outside all the time, like riding bikes and getting in trouble. Now I did grow up in a family run bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
So I worked as young as I can remember. I was working at the bed and breakfast. So we'd host 40 to 50 wedding receptions a year.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. It was a big Victorian house built in the 1800s.
Do they still have the property?
No, they sold it in, I think 2002.
Wow.
So I was in the military by then, but yeah, awesome old Victorian house on the historical registry. Yeah.
That would be fun. And what led you to go into the military? So you said 9/11 happened.
Yeah. So I went, before that, I was in a military boarding school by choice, which is,
yeah.
I found out
Leaving you in the mine, sending you to boarding school. I feel like we're establishing a pattern.
There's
here,
a pattern of life here that's pretty easy.
Missing a few details, but here we are.
No, growing up,
Teardrop tattoo below your eye that the listeners can't see.
12 teardrop tattoos. No, I had an awesome mentor. He's passed since, but he was a World War II Marine, Jack Haida. God bless this man. Just a rock solid human being, warrior, but also really good in business. Cut his teeth in sales. Just a awesome guy. So learning from guys like Jack Haida. My dad was in the Navy in Vietnam. So I had my grandfather, who's now passed, was also in World War II and Korea. So I had some military influence, but I was always fascinated by aircraft, and I loved the idea of military service. I just thought that was a good use, at least for first couple of years, to do something. So I was actually trying to get work up to get into the Air Force Academy, but then 9/11 happened, and it was like now or never. So I just joined enlisted.
And then what happened after that? So like it was like 9/11. And we've had some others on that have talked about that because like similar things, like Patrick Daly, like then he was like in New York. Dan Hargrove was flying Air Force 2 during that time. Like we've had some people on that have talked about that. And it was like a really big moment in their lives.
And I think in addition to that, were you still in high school when that happened? Were you out and in the world?
So I just graduated high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a perfect time to join because you got nothing going on. And then for those of us who remember 9/11, which is terrifying that we have people that have no recollection of that event. And it makes sense on why we're seeing some of what we're seeing in the country. But for me and for guys my age, for a lot of people our age, military service just seemed like the most logical thing at that moment. So I did that. I was Air Force, so we had butlers. It's my classic joke. Everybody listening, if you were other branches.
Like, I don't know what that means, but.
So I'll give you a little.
These jokes, I don't get them.
Little insight into the military. Marine Corps, Army, Navy, Coast Guard was part of the military. Now they're Homeland Security, or Coasties as we call them. And then Air Force. Air Force has the highest test standard to get in. So we're always jokingly the smarter branch. Sorry, Army. But if you talk to other Army or Marine Corps people, when they come onto an Air Force base for the first time, they are blown away because they didn't think you had an option when you go to the chow hall. You just get what they hand you. But remember, the mission of the Air Force is a ton of pilots, professional aviators. So that's why there's golf courses, and that's why there's really nice mess halls or chow halls or dining facilities. So for any of the military guys, it's a classic joke of like, you guys literally had butlers.
But you didn't. Yeah. But
no, we did.
But I mean, like, it's a funny joke.
It's
okay.
a funny joke.
Okay. Ha ha ha.
It works.
I think I have had the most Air Force on here if I actually think about it, like veterans.
Really?
Rick and Justin from our office, Dan Hargrove, you.
I find a lot of Air Force entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Or I like think of like Bryce Terpstra. If you haven't met him yet, you should, with Jones Construction. Really love Bryce.
Academy.
He's great. Yeah.
Academy grad. Yeah, phenomenal.
So let me ask you this. I think in knowing you and getting to know you in our conversations, whenever I hear Air Force, I think automatically pilot, mechanic, all of that. But you were in a pretty specialized role within the Air Force. So talk me through, I know it's not an MOS, Air Force uses a different acronym, but talk me through that process and how you went from I'm really into planes to what the work you actually did.
So backstory on this is for anybody listening and you have little kids, be careful of who they listen to, because somebody told me I was too tall to be a pilot, so I didn't even go after it. And
now all you want to do is buy a
tall.
plane.
I am tall. Yeah, I'm at least 18 feet tall.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Give or take.
Plus or minus a lot of feet. But no, as a kid, I was told I wanted to be a pilot, and somebody told me, "Oh, you're too tall to be a pilot," and I believed it. So I just kind of blocked that out of my memory, or blocked that out of my career path. So after 9/11, I'm like, okay, where do I have, because on 9/11, all the bases were shut down. You couldn't get on to see a recruiter. So even just getting onto a base to get recruited was hard. So my network, I had people on the local Air Force base, and I'm like, oh, well, I can get on there. So talking to the recruiter, I'm like, what jobs carry guns every day? Like, if there's going to be something to do, I want to.
This is like 18-year-old Peter.
Yes.
Okay.
Were you a gun guy growing up in the woods?
I didn't grow up as a big hunter, but Jack Haida actually worked for Colt way back in the day.
What's that?
So Colt was the AR-15, or M16. There's a guy called Eugene Stoner who invented it, and he was with Armalite, and then Colt got the patent, and then the M16, which then became the standard rifle for the military. Well, Jack Haida actually worked for him. So my first time shooting AR-15 was Jack Haida's at the age of like 15.
Okay.
And I just thought that mechanical device was such an interesting piece of equipment, and that really just jump-started the shooting side.
That question will make sense later in the episode for those.
It'll come very full circle.
We're coming full circle
Full circle
later,
very
but we're not
quickly.
there yet. Yeah.
So anyway, if I was going to join the military, if I couldn't be a pilot, because I didn't think I could.
Too tall, dang
Too
it.
tall. Son of a. I was like, well, I want to do something cool, because young kid, 9/11 just happened. You're like, I want to shoot terrorists in the face. Don't join the Air Force if you want to shoot terrorists in the face. Go into
Unless it's from a very far distance.
Yeah, you can get some distance. But so Air Force has the concept of air-based ground defense, which is a fancy word for protecting air bases or airports for the military. So that job breaks into two sections. You can either go law enforcement, like a MP, Army would call them MPs, or security forces. And then in security forces, you can go air-based ground defense, which I found way more exciting, because you go blow up stuff and shoot more, and you have different weapons quals. So I got into that, and then deployed a couple times, never got to Afghanistan, only got to Iraq. Did one, can't even really call it deployment. I had a beach vacation for three months, I think, at Diego Garcia. So if you're really bored and want to know where Diego Garcia is, it's a small island atoll in the Indian Ocean, about 3 degrees north of the equator. And that's where we were flying all of our bomber missions into Afghanistan. So these B-1 and B-2 bombers would take off from Diego Garcia, which is owned by the British. But we were literally living in tents like 20 yards from the beach.
Wow.
Because if you look it up, there's parts of the island that are so narrow you can lay down and your feet will touch one beach on the south shore and your hands will touch the other beach.
Wow.
It's not very big.
No, sounds little. So then you're there, you're doing this.
Yep. And there's a local indigenous tribe that was kicked off the island like 100 years ago or something by the British. So that was our biggest threat in the area. And then the other biggest threat was when the Navy and Marines and British came into port and got drunk and fought each other.
Got it. Yeah. So you're like, guys, get it together. And ladies.
Mostly guys.
Yeah. It's like
there was a bar, air quote bar. It was a like a pole barn without sides.
Okay.
So just a roof.
Yeah.
Right next to the beach, and that was the only place. So they'd all drink and get stupid and fight each other because they'd been living on boats for months at a time.
And where were you based out of when you came back to the U.S.?
So I was out of an airlift wing, so cargo, airlift wing in Minnesota.
Okay. So it's home state, going, coming back.
Yep, just bouncing back and forth. And then last deployments were 06 and 07. Went into Kuwait and then did missions throughout Iraq.
Wow. What were some highlight, like, I hate to use that word, or like big takeaways you had during those deployments?
I think highlights is a fair.
Yeah.
I'll do some fun ones and then I'll go into a more real one. But fun ones were going outside because our job was to go off base as a recon unit with 187 square kilometers of patrol zone in the desert. So you're literally driving sand dunes like you'd see in a movie.
Okay. And how many are in like a mission like that, if that's the right word?
So our team, you'd have 2 in each vehicle, and we'd only be like a very small force of less than 10.
Oh, so elite. Okay.
Was that all your team, or did you work with other branches and go out with any other?
Nope. So that was all our team. We did interface with the Army. So the Army had a QRF, quick reaction force, that if we found something that was pressing into our base, then the Army would send out armored columns to support us to try to slow it down before it got to the perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd be driving around, and you'd literally be driving through the desert and you see a landmine in front of you from the last Gulf War. You're like,
wow.
Okay, well, we got to blow that up. Can't just leave it. So doing a lot of that. So we got to blow up a lot of stuff, which is kind of fun.
Are we Humvees, dune buggies? What are we driving?
So we had we had a couple different vehicles. We had up armored Humvees for some of them, and then we had Toyota Hilux trucks, which are
I'll have to look that up later.
It's kind of like a Tacoma.
Oh, okay.
Cooler.
Okay.
Very ubiquitous or common in the Middle East. For some reason, we can't get them here. Coolest truck ever.
And what was were you driving? I want to, were you sitting? Were you driving? Where were you? It just switched.
Yeah,
okay.
you just swap.
Okay.
Depends on what weapon system you drew that day was the area. So you'd have your designated marksmen, you'd have your snipers or your CPEC, you'd have your grenade launcher folks. So they've got the 40 mics, and then you have your belt feds, we had the 249 and the 240, which just 240 shoots like a hunting cartridge, but it's belt fed machine gun.
Wow.
And so you had to be trained and qualified on all those weapons.
Yeah, and that's
the
benefit of air base ground defense. You get more weapon time because you have to qualify on all the different weapon systems.
Wow.
So
very cool.
Yeah. And then towards the end of when we weren't doing that, when we weren't on the off base recon unit, we'd be doing fast missions. And now in the military, there's 2 different fasts. There's Marine fast, which is totally different than what we were doing. And the Air Force fast, everybody has their own acronyms. Flyaway security team. So you'd hop on like a C-130 cargo plane or a C-5 or something, and you'd fly all through Iraq. So you'd be you'd go to like Baghdad, Al-Sahara, Al-Qut, Q West. I don't even know the real name of it. We call it Q West. Al-Taqatum. I mean, just bouncing all over Iraq, which was kind of cool because you got to see the entire country.
Mm-hmm.
Where a lot of guys that deployed over there, they got stuck in one spot. So,
and you guys are kind of going all over. Yeah.
So you might land on a dirt strip in the middle of nowhere. And then our team, if you were doing that, our team would get off and be the security force for loading and unloading. And at the time, it sounded really cool. It wasn't until I got a little more gray matter that I realized we were the sacrificial force.
Good luck out there, guys. Let us know if you make it back.
Young and dumb.
Yeah. But were you guys like together, like that unit, that smaller team? Like, was that for the multiple years or whatever that you were in it? Were you guys, that was a pretty core group?
Yeah. On some of the deployments, it would switch up. But most, I would say my squad, my fire team, like Alpha Fire Team, so I was Alpha Fire Team leader, we deployed almost all of them, most like Alpha Fire Team deployed together.
Wow.
Which was nice because you actually know each
other.
And
how many are on a fire team? How many?
Just 4. Yep.
Okay.
And then in the Air Force, you have 3 fire teams per squad. So.
Wow. That's fun. Sorry, I'm like wrapping my head around all of that. I'm like numbers.
Yeah, sorry. Math. There's a test at the end.
There is. I don't know how well I'll do, but.
So after all of that, in the military, you can't leave your deployment until your relief comes in. So when we were waiting on our relief, we got repositioned to Al Mubarak Air Base, which is Kuwait City International Airport, in the rear with the gear. Nothing's going on there. They took away our chow hall, so we were the base security for that, to turn it into a morgue because they needed a casualty collection point. So one of the takeaways was doing the human remains detail every night for a couple months.
Yeah.
You realize how completely pointless the war was. And that was a huge takeaway, like a turning point for me personally, where it's like you're seeing, and you don't know these guys. It's just, you see a name, rank, date of birth. And so they'd get killed during the day, and then they'd throw them on an aircraft and then land. For us, we'd take them off the aircraft, and then there's a unit there at Al-Mubarak that would process the bodies before they got shipped back to Dover. So they're going through and making sure there's no, I mean, as gruesome as it is, they're looking for unexploded ordnance. So if somebody got hit with a grenade or there's something on them, they're going through and then positively IDing the bodies. So yeah, that was a pretty low point, I would say, in the deployment, but it also was eye-opening to see what a waste of human life that war was.
And just every day seeing that would be really, I can't even, like, very difficult.
Yeah, so that definitely stuck with me longer. And that was 07, and then I got out in 08.
And what'd you do in 08?
Because 9/11 happened, I didn't go to college yet. So I finished up my associates first in law enforcement, then...
In Minnesota?
Yep, okay. Minnesota. Yeah. Then got a job with a police department there in the southern portion of the Twin Cities Metro, like tier 1 suburb, tier 2. And they allowed me to finish my bachelor's because at that PD, you needed a 4-year degree to be full-time.
Okay.
So it was kind of their...
Is that normal? I'm just curious.
No, it was the only one in Minnesota at the time that was doing it.
I didn't know.
So then I was doing that for 2 years, and somebody hit me up, to this day, I don't remember who, and said, hey, the Air Marshals are hiring. I'm like, oh. And by this point, I'm like, do I really want to drive around the city for the rest of my life or rest of my professional life? And a great department to work for, phenomenal admin.
And was that a good transition from being active duty?
Yeah.
And then coming into, like that transition? Yeah,
because there was the similarities of the camaraderie, and you're back in uniform, you're doing something to help people, right? So it really did transition pretty easily.
If I remember correctly, this is where Morgan enters the picture too.
Yeah, right around this point.
We love Morgan.
Yeah, it would be...
Because wasn't it a haircut 4 years?
Yeah, so it was, so I met my Morgan, by who they're referring to as Morgan, my wife. They had relaxed grooming standards at the police department, which also
For those of you that aren't
Peter has
aware,
nice lush dark hair now. But you were more
for
trimmed hair back then.
Well, yeah, military obviously, and then the PD you could grow out your hair a little bit, and you could have facial hair. But for when I was going through the application process for the federal government, I was like, okay, I probably have to clean this up. So I met Morgan. She's like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, just getting a haircut. I've got an interview. Oh, what's it for? This government thing doesn't matter. Okay, well, you have to let me know how it goes. Well, it's a year-long interview. Like the process is over a year.
To be an air marshal. Because to be.
Just to get an offer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because you were like, police, I don't want to do this forever.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And so I had to go back and get multiple haircuts. So that's where
Yeah.
Dang it. But you knew immediately. You're like, this girl.
I knew she was a dancer immediately. And by the way, not a dancer, a ballerina, because of how they stand. Observational skills. Ballerinas always stand with their toes pointed out. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cute.
Yeah.
And then the process went well for the hiring, and they gave me an offer with 2 weeks to show up to New York from
Minnesota.
From Minnesota. Yeah.
How were you? Yeah. Like, tell me, like, in those moments, if you remember, like, what were you feeling? Like going to New York, because did you know where you were going to get placed? If you got it?
I didn't know initially. My offer, when they offered me, it was New York. And they said during the offer, never trust the government, by the way. They're like, do 24 months in New York, and then you can go to any field office. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That wasn't true. You'll find out later. So when I got it, obviously I was excited because at the time, I think there was 100,000 applicants per job, per position in the Air Marshals.
Wow.
So it was very competitive.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So obviously getting the job offer, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take this. Even New York wasn't on my list. You put down a list of like where you want to go. Believe it or not, New York was not on that list. Took the job, moved to New York, and I was out there for 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Morgan, we still stayed in touch. Sorry, for the listeners, I don't want them to like not know what happened.
So Morgan,
we do need all the updates.
So Morgan, we got married. That's a punchline. But Morgan, I was like, well, I think if I'm not mistaken, we went out on a date before I left, and I bet her that she couldn't hit a bullseye with the darts because couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with darts. And if she did, I would fly her out to New York because she wanted to go. and selfishly we could have a date there. And I'm certain she's going to bomb this. And sure as shit, she hit a bullseye. Like, I'm not even lying. And I'm like,
of course she did. I would expect it. I would expect nothing
a Hallmark movie in the works.
less.
Yeah.
Honestly,
in Minnesota.
It's a little Hallmarkish, too much for my own take. I was certain she was horrible at darts. I'm sorry, Morgan.
But yeah, here she is.
She won in the end. So,
did she?
So then we were flown out to New York later.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So then New York, then you get assigned to your field office, and then New York, they just PT or physical training. You show up to the field office while you're waiting for your training slots. So you're there, you're doing your orientation, all that normal HR stuff, or human resource stuff. Then they start just beating the daylights out of you in the mat room, like a training room, padded room, where you're learning fighting and tactics and all this other stuff, getting you prepped physically and training wise for the academy.
But you were probably like good for that because you just came out of your background.
And you had to do PT tests to even get through the application process. So most of the people showing up were former military, former law enforcement, phenomenal dudes who are just beasts, absolute beasts. So that was, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm going to get the shit kicked out of me again. Sorry for swearing on your podcast.
It's fine. Explicit.
Yep. It's an explicit podcast.
You're not the first.
Okay.
Parental advisory.
Don't worry.
You're just getting beat up constantly, and they're prepping you for the training, which was, it got old after a while, but you knew why you were doing it. So
you do the training.
Yeah.
And then you're there for 5 years.
Yeah. So go to the academy, or the academy's two parts. One is in Artesia, New Mexico. Some call it the Paris of New Mexico.
Why do they call it that?
No one calls it that. It's a shithole. It's an absolute dump.
I was like, I've not been to New Mexico, so I have no idea.
Anything. I'm sorry, New Mexico. Love you guys, but you're not missing anything, especially Artesia. There's nothing there outside of the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center.
Okay.
It's like a pseudo military style base in the middle of nowhere in New Mexico. So you're there for a month or two doing that. So then you have to graduate. They call it FTP1. You have to graduate that.
Yeah.
And we lost probably 30% of the class there.
So you weed out the...
Yep. Which was nice because we weren't shocked by anybody we lost. And it really wasn't a loss. And then you go to FTP2, which is in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Okay.
At the FAA Training Center. And that's the heavy air marshal portion of it.
Okay.
And that your days are just 10-hour days of you either shoot for half the day, you're on the range, or you're fighting for half the day, or then flip the next. And you're working out, shooting, fighting, learning international law like Tokyo Convention on jurisdiction within aircraft and flight. And
naturally.
Emergency procedures and all that other fun stuff.
Marcel and I know the Tokyo.
Tokyo Convention. I can give you a crash course on that.
Yeah.
But there is some law that you have to be cognizant of carrying guns into foreign countries, obviously. So, graduate that, get back to the field office, and then you just start flying.
And what's it like? What is an air marshal for those listening? Like you go through like an exorbitant amount of training, clearly. Like
plethora.
Like that's a lot. You're getting flown, which is also like if you had a family, that would probably be difficult, right? Like if you had like you're gone for a couple months doing all of that, like God bless the significant other that's staying behind it's not conducive to relocating.
Candidly, I don't know how the people did it with kids.
Yeah. That would just be hard, I would think. I don't have kids, but it would be difficult.
I can't fathom being away from them for that long, and I don't even have kids, but God bless the fams that have done that. But then once you get to the job, it's even worse than that because you're waking up, and I've said it before, but I'd wake up in foreign countries and have no idea where I am in the world because you do 50 plus international trips a year.
Oh.
So every week, bare minimum every week, you're flying one international trip on top of your domestic trips. And there'd be some weeks where you might have two international trips that week. So you'd go from the US to like Middle East and then go back and then do it again. And that's your week.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And you're on the plane.
Yep.
Just a regular guy on the plane. Don't mind the 6'4" bearded man.
I was going to go 6'5", but okay.
I'm 6'5".
Yeah, that's what my guess.
6'4.5".
Keith.
6'4" and
Please.
3/4.
Obviously, I'm like, I can profile. I'm good.
No, so actually, one of the cool parts in the Air Marshal Academy in the second phase, FTP2, is they bring in improv coaches. They teach you how to build your cover, and you have actual acting coaches.
Did you have one cover or many covers?
Because one cover wouldn't work everywhere you're going. It wouldn't make sense. If you're like, oh, I'm a National Geographic photographer, horrible cover, by the way.
Where's your camera?
Yeah, where's your camera? And then if you meet somebody who knows something about cameras, you have to be able to speak to that at a depth of a subject matter expert. So, no, multiple covers based on where you're going. Some of them are easy, like, hey, why are you going to Vegas? Oh, I'm going to meet some buddies. It's a bachelor party, right?
Yeah, that one would be easy. Give us a hard one.
Classified.
Well, the
pushing
hardest
for too many details.
No, you're good. The hardest is probably when you're the only white guy on a plane and you're going to Africa. It's like,
what you doing?
What are you doing? And you're like, you can either do safari or during the time contractor made a lot of sense, but then they're kind of keyed up on you anyway. But no matter what, if I'm going to sub-Saharan Africa, I'm green eyes, clearly white skin. I kind of stick out on that flight, or going to Jordan or anywhere in the Middle East that wasn't a bigger tourist destination, you do stick out. So,
and when you're on what are you looking for? Like, what is the role of it? You're traveling a lot, but for those that are like, oh yeah, I've seen that in a movie or something, but what's the role of an air marshal really?
So your ultimate job is the security of the aircraft in flight when you're in flight. But what most people don't know about the FAMs, what we call FAMs, air marshals, is a lot of our mission sets were actually targeted surveillance on known jihadis and their affiliates as they transited the intermodal transportation network globally.
That's a lot in a sentence.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
English, please.
Oh, we watch bad guys while on planes to see who they hung out with and talked to, and make sure they don't blow it up or hijack it.
So from a tactical standpoint, you're on the plane, you've got a suspect you're watching, he's a known entity. You get to the airport. Do you transition him to a different person to go watch him to see if he's on a bus or a train? Or
unlike the movies where they have like the one guy tracking everybody.
It doesn't I feel like there's a one guy that's also not like fit or like anyways, but that's separate.
Oh, that's
later,
federal government. There's always later.
We'll
put that in the parking lot for a second. No, so if you have a surveillance package, you're going to do a handoff with another team, another entity, and that could be another FAM team, that could be FBI, that could be any one of these 3-letter agencies. And because think about it, if you see me, I mean, I'm a pretty distinct looking person. If you see me on your next flight also, you're like, that's weird.
Where's he going?
Yeah. So the goal is that they never see you more than once.
And did you work with other international agencies as well? You land somewhere and you hand them off to that country's intelligence service, or?
Yeah, some of that would be through redacted. But there would be, if there is a known, either coming from a foreign country or going to a foreign country, there would be a process that would include redacted on how to redacted.
Interesting.
But you would do interface with host nation on every trip.
Yeah.
And you're by yourself on it, or you have other people with you?
No, they never work by themselves.
Okay.
You always work in a team, and the most I've ever had on one flight was 16 of us.
Wow.
Good Lord.
Not to give us like all the details.
Many
out to
bad
the public,
guys on one flight if there's 16.
Correct. There's a reason.
2 questions. 1, did you always fly first class, and how great was that? And 2,
no.
What is the best airport and what is the worst airport?
Yeah, these are fun. Tell us.
Okay. Best. So there's best and favorite airports.
Okay. Give me a best, give me a favorite, give me a worst.
Man, because they do change with the updates. I'd say at the time, the worst airports when I was flying was JFK. Absolute dumpster fire of an airport.
Just to like get through.
It's old. It's shitty. It smells like New York. Which is synonymous with garbage. So JFK was one of the worst. LaGuardia was also horrific, but they remodeled it since. We used to call it La Garbage. Absolute horrible airport. You know what? I liked Amsterdam Schiphol
I like the Amsterdam one too. It moves quick.
Yeah, Schiphol is great little airport, and the Dutch, our counterparts there, phenomenal teams.
So nice.
Yeah,
I love seeing them.
So from the Dutch counterterrorism team that's at the airport, so they respond to acts of terrorism, and they're the trigger pullers there. Super cool dudes. We worked with them a ton, or interfaced with them a ton. But what I learned was they are very nice to us, but as I get more intertwined with them, they're like, we're pretty harsh to each other, though. Like the outsiders were really nice. Yeah, exactly. I was like, I just thought this was the culture. They're like, no, you will get treated way better than I'll get treated by your own people.
Interesting. Like hospitable that's fascinating.
And Zurich was also phenomenal.
Haven't been to that one yet, but
the Swiss.
Yeah.
So if we move forward, we go from Air Force to police to Federal Air Marshal to
in New York for 5 years.
5 years. Yep.
Traveling, and we marry during this time.
No,
not yet. Okay.
Nope. Dating on and off, long distance the entire time.
Okay. And we're there for 5 years.
Yep. 5. I served 5 years in the New York Penitentiary of the field office of New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then what's next?
So there was a turn, and I believe I was in Istanbul, and you guys already knowing me, I always have multiple phones. There was a time when I had more phones.
Wow.
Well, I was sleeping one night, and my phone rang, and a woman's voice came on and said something about a bomb. Like, okay, we had intel that there might be something happening. So I'm coming out of my very jet lag state, and I realized the voice is familiar. It was my mother. She was at church, in a small church in Minnesota, and somebody put a pipe bomb on the door. And
in Minnesota.
In Minnesota, of all places.
Not to be, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. And so she found out by a cop came in. It's like, hey, I need you to leave the church immediately. Go out to your car, make sure nobody messed with it or it doesn't look like it's been modified. And so she called me, and it was a aha moment, kind of like the carrying dead troops in Operation Iraqi Freedom, where it's like, why am I in Istanbul right now? Like, the Turks don't, like, I don't hate the Turks, but do I really care about
what's going on
here? I don't want anything bad to happen to Turkey, but at the same time, do I want to dedicate my life to going around the world trying to help these other countries when we have our own stuff back at home? So that was a tipping point. And then on self-reflection, started a company, which is Archway Defense, with the stated goal of with training comes peace of mind. That I found the more professionally violent somebody was, the more peaceful and more relaxed they were.
Interesting. So you kind of left what you were doing, and you were just like,
I jumped ship
and then like immediately started your own company.
Yeah. So I started it while I was still in.
Okay.
Just trying to, not knowing anything about business, completely ignorant. I mean,
was your mentor still alive at this point?
He passed.
Okay.
Yeah, he passed by now.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Jack would have been amazing to help set it up, but no, unfortunately, Jack died before I became an air marshal. So I was building the company. By building a company, I was completely ignorant to what I was doing. I was just trying to put the pieces together to see what this would be. And then I got to a tipping point where I'm like, I'm done. So I left and then went full tilt on Archway Defense and self-funded it myself.
Wow. Where did the name come from?
So I was trying to come up with a name, and I looked back during the move coming to Montana. I found a notepad with hundreds of different company names, and some of them were so cringeworthy, horrific.
I was hoping
Peter's awesome defense.
Yeah, like Ninja Tactical 5 group.
Glad we didn't do that.
No.
Yeah.
It was the theory was, if people are empowered to take defense of their own archway and protect their own archway, whether it's to your business, to your place of worship, your home, right? Mm-hmm. I think we'd probably be a safer place to live. So it was empowering people to take charge of their own archway defense.
Kind of after your mom called and you're like,
yeah, exactly.
I got to do something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Has the business model of Archway changed, knowing what I know now about the business and the way that you do it? What were the early stages of it like?
So
who was your first client, your target market? Walk me through that kind of evolution to where you are today.
Yeah, and I think too, like were you doing like one thing, or which we'll get to? Yeah, tell us.
Starting off, obviously completely ignorant, not knowing a lick about business. And so then it was, okay, well, Peter's a shooter, so maybe I'll just do shooting training.
Mm-hmm.
I found people that wanted to pay for private lessons, and then I'm like, okay, well, I can get a permit to carry training group. There's some small mom and pop shops doing that. I didn't really like that from a time perspective. So then I built a learning management system to automate that on the classroom portion. I'm like, oh, okay. So if I can
pause.
Yep.
You built a learning management system.
Yes.
You're not a
No, I'm not a tech
code
guy.
builder. You're not
Nope.
a tech guy.
Nope.
Talk to me about that.
So maybe it's just I'm too stupid not to think I can't do something. Too stupid to not know if I can't do something, whatever it is.
One of those.
Yeah, something. But I was trying to find a solution to scale the business. And where I found was I started reading the statute, and I'm like, oh, this training doesn't have to be in person. The shooting drills do. But the classroom doesn't. There's nothing in law that says it has to be in person.
Is it federal law, state law?
State
Okay.
of Minnesota. So then it was like, okay, well, how could I automate this process? And started working on building out that. Now the client acquisition cost was atrocious, but it brought a couple bucks in the door while I was trying to figure that out. And then at some point in this process, one of the SWAT teams in the local area was like, oh, Peter, you're back in town. Would you come shoot with us? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll donate my day and come train with you. And what most people don't know is cops don't get a lot of training on weapons. Like, it's very low. And then when they think SWAT team, they're like, oh, that's like SEALs or Delta Force. Not at all. They're just cops with a little bit more training and a little bit more gear. So seeing them on the range, I'm like, oh, maybe I just got much better at shooting, which I did, but I thought they would have been better. And I'm not casting shade on them.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, okay. Well, so I shot with them, just donated my time just to help out the local team. And then they told someone else they shot with me. And they're like, hey, would you come and train with us? And then this just kept happening while I was trying to build the other side of the business, not paying attention to the fact that I was getting client generated referrals. Again, ignorant, not seeing that was coming in. So I was just like helping out local SWAT teams when I could, while I was trying to build this other piece. So then we were building out a church security program. And then I learned about client acquisition costs to the highest level, that everybody at a faith-based organization can say no to a idea, and no one actually knows who can say yes, and very few people know who can pay for it. So you'd have 50 cups of coffee with a church, and God bless them, but no one, they're like, yes, we need it. We want it. Okay. Do you want to buy it? Let's have another meeting. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go bankrupt if I keep doing this. So then, it turned into, I had an idea of what if we trained police departments, but how could I do it for free?
And what year is this?
Probably in 2016, 2017.
Okay.
So struggle busing for a couple of years of like.
Do you remember the moment you had that thought for the first time? Was that like one of those?
No, I think it was a slow kind of brew.
But what if you could do it for free?
What if, because they don't have money for training. And then I'm like, okay.
Which is kind of wild, but here we are.
Yeah, it's wild. But what do they have money for? I'm like, well, they buy gear. So I'm like, what if the gear companies paid for the training?
What a thought.
And then we train the cops, and then the gear companies have a sales arm that's not sales. And I'm like, oh, that might be an idea. And found a founder of one of the AR-15 full circle.
Yeah.
One of the,
from
what I would
age
call
15, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
One of the premier AR-15 builders in the world.
Yeah.
JP Rifles. They've been a title sponsor since 2017. They were the first ones. Had an idea, and they're like, yeah, let's do it.
So did you have a relationship with JP before this, or was it like a cold call? Hey,
no, so
I'm doing this thing.
I was at a SWAT conference. I met their general manager.
Okay.
And he saw me interacting with the cops, just helping train them. And he's like, hey, Peter, have you ever shot a JP? I'm like, no, I could never afford one. Like, they're really nice rifles. He's like, well, here, shoot this one. So I actually, to this day, I still have video of the first time I ever shot a JP.
That's cool.
And it blew my mind from how good the rifle was that I'm like, I don't know what they did, but this is different.
Mhm.
It's like getting in a car that you just know is performing way better than anything you've ever driven. You're like, I don't know how they did it, but I know it's different.
Mhm.
And so Mel, at the time, he was the general manager. We just started seeing each other at these SWAT conferences. And he's like, hey, I want you to meet with John Paul, the founder of JP. I'm like, sure. Do you think you'd go for this?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know. It's up to you. I'm like, okay. So I put together a little pitch deck and went in, and John Paul's just glaring at me from across the table. He's a shooter. Like, this dude's brilliant human being. Reinvented the AR-15 world as a competition shooter because he looked at it like, oh, this trigger's horrible in my rifle. I'm going to go build a new trigger.
Okay.
Or this piece is bad. I'm going to go build a new piece. And he kept replacing all the pieces in his gun, and it got to the point where he's like, why don't we just build guns?
Yeah.
But he's kind of giving me that not so friendly look. And John Paul and I have talked about this before. And I look across from him, and he's like, I can tell he's thinking maybe I'm a sales guy or a marketer. And he even asked it. He's like, so are you a marketing firm? I'm like, no, John, I'm a shooter. He's like, oh, okay. Now we can talk.
See.
He's like,
He did not get the brief before the meeting of what.
no. And to his credit, he's like, okay, this makes sense. And then that massive tipping point in Archway is what started this law enforcement outreach where we're providing training across the country to now thousands and thousands of cops, and very rarely at any cost to the agency or the taxpayer.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because you had like this, you're like, oh, they use gear. Why don't I just what a thought to have. And then now look at what you're doing with it.
And it beats a day job.
Yeah.
Well, and you've got another sponsor as well. So talk to me about, So talk to me about how those relationships have grown and what the future looks like in that world too.
Yeah. So the sponsorship people started seeing, and it's kind of that testament of fall in love with the process. I forgot who told me that. Don't try to get to the destination.
Marcel told you that.
Marcel.
I didn't.
Yes.
No,
Marcel.
I did not.
Trademark 2025. The Vault podcast.
Oh gosh.
But falling in love with the process helped me to not get hung up when I wasn't making money at this. I was just covering the cost. Like, the sponsorship literally wasn't paying me anything. It was just covering the travel costs to go do this work. So there was years I was losing money at this. Not a great business proposition, but I'm like, if I can keep going, could I grow this? And so even losing money, then it got to the point where other people started seeing what I was doing. And I'm like, then we started getting approached by people where we were turning them down because they didn't align with the vision of how we have a very unique recipe on how we actually make this work. Because it sounds simple, but to actually do it and get an ROI for the sponsors is very difficult. And because you have to do it in a way that's transparent to the cops, so they're not feeling used.
Yep.
You can't lie to them because, believe it or not, cops know when you're lying to them.
Funny how that happens. Weird.
Then got a couple sponsors along the way. Heckler & Koch reached out, the German handgun manufacturer.
Okay, I was like, I don't know who that is, but okay.
For any of the gun people listening, H&K. So we're sponsored by HK for pistols.
Wow.
And then one of the competition shooters got promoted at a great company called Vortex Optics.
Oh, I know that one.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Look at
Vortex
me.
is a
Okay,
monster.
okay.
I think they are the largest optics manufacturer in the world by this point, possibly.
I'll take your word for it. Largest in the world. Quote, Peter.
Shout out Vortex.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Do you want to sponsor the Vault? Just kidding. But not really.
They have their own podcast, shockingly. But they wanted to increase their law enforcement outreach. And so they jumped in.
You knew a guy.
Yeah. And then there was a suppressor sponsor out of Idaho, Gemtech Suppressors, owned by a great guy, Ron Martinez. He bought it and turned the company around. Well, then he sold it to Smith & Wesson, and Smith & Wesson, you probably heard of them. They are
let's not give me too much credit.
No worries. Your listeners have.
Yeah.
Smith & Wesson is Smith & Wesson. It's where companies go to die, and they just destroyed the company. I mean, they fired everybody in there, and so obviously we were on the chopping block. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Then another suppressor company came along, and the suppressors are just a muffler. Everyone wants to act like it's like a spy James Bond thing. It's just a muffler to keep the noise.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's James Bond's muffler.
It's James Bond's muffler.
Okay, got it. I know that.
So then going through the industry, I decided I'd rather, instead of being that NASCAR where you're constantly changing out logos, I'm like, I would rather lose money than take a 6-month sponsorship, because I don't want to be changing out badges every year.
No.
So if you're not here for a long-term relationship, I will turn down money, and we've done it.
Mm-hmm.
But that goes into the trust piece with the law enforcement, because if they're constantly seeing you swapping gear, they're like, you're just
in it for a dollar.
Yeah, you're just taking the next dollar that's coming along, and my reputation, they can't pay me enough to buy my reputation.
Mm-hmm.
So JP's title sponsor, they've been title sponsor since day one, literally. And then we just signed a new title sponsor about 2 years ago, coming up on 2 years, Silencer Shop.
Oh.
So they're the world's largest distributor of suppressors. So not only one brand, but they actually have basically all the brands. So then when we're shooting with cops, we have Silencer Shop suppressors on, and the cops have the ability to get discounts on suppressors and gear and all this other fun stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
We may have skipped over in the timeline as we were going through
There's
this.
some other stuff that
Clearly,
happened.
Keith and Peter have spent a lot of time together. I only see Peter once in a while, and I'll just give our listeners a little view when Peter is in the office. By that, I mean Rock 31. There's magically always a flood of people around Peter. So
We don't see him enough. So when he's here, we got to hang out with him.
Poor guy can't get here and do his work.
Talk to me about Deep Attic and that other your other company, because that's one thing we didn't touch on.
Yeah.
But I imagine that's like the training.
It kind of folds in,
Okay.
folds in with what you're doing,
Yeah.
but is a completely separate entity.
Correct.
And something that's, through our conversations, I think has a ton of growth potential, and something that as we see all these changes coming down from the Fed, and the renewed interest in defense tech, I think this is something that is super cool, and we're extremely proud that it's a Montana company now.
So Deep Attic is a very interesting story. Kind of came around the same methodology I had with the LMS. One of our clients was, for many years, actually, I just got a text from my old business partner in Chicago who ran the security for O'Hare and Midway airports. So we were doing their training for all of their unarmed guards. So it was like terrorist planning, cycle disruption, behavioral detection, all this other stuff.
Jumbo Airport.
Huge airport, top 5 in the world, I think. But because you have FAA, TSA, the Chicago airport, whatever their authority is, and then you have like Chicago Peace. Everybody wants to know what you taught these guys.
Yeah, of course they do.
So we would film. It got to the point where because of liability, we'd actually film the entire course and have that in a database so that anyone could go back and say, what did you teach them? What did you tell them to do? What didn't you tell them to do? Because you're talking about active shooter in an airport. It's a very...
And this was under the Archway umbrella.
Yeah, for many, many years. But there was a scaling issue with that training. I'd have to fly instructors down, and then the guards would cycle out every 16 months because they're security guards. Mm-hmm. So then they have to come back and do training, and it's just this back and forth. I'm like, there's got to be a better way. So was chatting with actually my brother David about
older brother.
Yeah. And he comes from the gaming world, tech, all like visual media, totally different TV. He worked big TV channels. And he's like, well, have you looked into VR? I'm like, dude, I heard about like Google Cardboard garbage, and I watched that once. He's like, no, this is right around the time the Quest was coming out, before Facebook bought it, Oculus, right? So then we built an active shooter program in VR, and to scale it. So we built a new company.
Feel like you're burying the lead here. You built an active shooter program. Talk about that. How did you, to the general public, you're like, I'm going to build an active shooter. Like, what does that look like?
Did it through VR, which is a lot.
So we just took the curriculum and we brought it into VR with some brilliant minds on the tech side, and heavy visuals, right? A lot more data tracking. So for liability, you can prove what you taught them. Mm-hmm. And then our first version of it launched at O'Hare the week that COVID broke.
That's awkward.
Yeah. Product launch time.
Can't help it, though.
No, it was just like, so then COVID almost destroyed Deep Attic and Archway Defense. Archway lost 80+% of our revenue overnight because it was all in-person training. Literally almost destroyed the businesses. It was very close. So then Deep Attic, we're like, well, what else can we do? So we started retooling it and then came up with one of the products David and I developed was a scanning tool on verifying the post or when somebody buys something, like government entity buys a large piece of equipment, you have to inspect it before you take delivery of that multi-million-dollar piece of equipment. So we're like, well, then this is still at the middle end of COVID. What if we put that in VR and allowed them to inspect it remotely? So this is where Deep Attic is very separate than Archway, because it's going down avenues that have nothing to do with the mission of Archway. So we built that for an Austrian company and launched that. And that was a great little business. And then that solved a lot of stuff during COVID where they weren't shipping product because nobody was allowed to go visit to sign off. But the contract said you have to inspect it before we pay you. So they were sitting on inventory they couldn't move. So being a little bit flexible to solve problems.
And like the market need at the time, because that was a weird time for everyone.
Weird. Just the history books are going to write about that. It'll be wild.
Yeah, it will.
So Deep Attic has a ton of growth opportunity. The capital expense of building, because what you're actually doing is you're building a video game, but it's purpose built on training or user experience or something. So to do that, it costs a lot of money. So the best way to make $1 million in VR is start with 2 million and spend one of them. So the barrier to entry is very big, which is good. And the know-how to do it is there's not that many people who can do it well. So that's part of the growth, all self-funded, never took venture capital, private equity, anything.
Wow.
Actually, all my businesses, I've never taken investor money on any business I've had.
Sell you.
Which, looking back, was probably not the right decision.
But you learned through it, right? And if you were to mentor somebody else or if they're wanting to do that, you have real world experience to share.
A good friend of mine, he's actually a cop down in Texas, just launched his company. I've been working with him for 2 years on it, just helping him. His site just went live and he has a super cool product.
Shout it out. Let's hear it.
So Salty Peaks, hear me out. This is when he told me.
No, I'm kidding.
When he told me about this, I'm like, I would buy this in a heartbeat. You have to do this. It's those Element salt packets.
Yeah.
It's that in a gummy form.
Oh, I would take that.
And
rather than having to pour the salt.
Correct.
Not that I don't like Element, I do.
Marcel is a brand ambassador for Element.
No, I wish. I've actually been really bad lately. I haven't been taking it.
I could see you being a brand ambassador for Element.
Yeah.
Maybe we can
give
get
me
you
the
salty
gummies.
So I just
salty
put an
peaks.
order in
Let's
last
go.
night. The site went live.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I met him down in Texas on this last road tour, and he had the final production batch. And I'm like, I've been tasting all of these as they've been coming up.
Yeah.
He came up with the recipe. He came up with the marketing. And the same thing, cop, no business background, and seeing him, I'm like, here, I'll tell you every mistake I made.
So you don't do it,
Yep.
but like a food product, that's interesting.
Yeah, super interesting.
Now I want to, so we'll have to order some of that, Keith, and we can, because I
Absolutely.
love a salty,
Same.
I crave salt
So
because I drink so much water.
I'll donate a pack. Just call them out on the next podcast.
Okay. Oh, I totally would. Yeah. Give me a pack. So right now you're operating 2 separate companies.
3
separate companies. What's the third one?
Property development.
Okay. So you're doing 3 different things.
Yep.
You're on the go all the time with
Correct.
Archway.
Yeah.
And Deep
Attic.
And Deep Attic. Okay. So we're doing both.
Yeah.
Wow. Who's your team? How big's your team?
On the Deep Attic side, it's pretty small. It's only 4 of us full time.
But it's VR. So
co-founder /
co-founder. Yeah. So Dave and I are the founders.
Okay.
who's Dave?
My brother. My
Okay.
oldest brother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thanks, older brother Dave. Are we a favorite? Maybe.
He's got to be at the top
Gotta
half,
be, yeah.
for sure.
And then we brought in employee number 1, Ian, as another, gave him a co-founder title.
Is he your software developer?
He's actually a technical modeler, so an animator.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Cool.
Dude, this guy is next level. Like this Rodecaster Pro, he could literally recreate it down to the 10th of a millimeter and have the texture as light hits it, it'll be identical.
Wow.
That's really cool.
And absolute brilliant guy. But yeah, so we've gone through in all the companies, you go through the highs and lows of them all.
Mm-hmm.
I think the danger with this whole social media thing is entrepreneurship is becoming like a hot word, that it's all upside. You're like,
yeah, it's like, you're not cool if you're not an entrepreneur. I
Correct.
feel that regularly. No, I'm kidding. But like, it does feel like it's like entrepreneurship is like the hot thing to be doing.
yeah. And it's really good, but it is the most miserable, soul sucking experience you'll ever have. Like, it's not easy.
Lonely.
Dude, like, I'm not a sensitive person, but it is extremely lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
It's the people are like, oh, it's so much fun. You're going to like make all this money. I'm like, no, my old business partner, Mark, on the security side, he's like, I'm the last one to get paid. I'm the first one to get sued.
Mm-hmm. I know Avonlea talked about that when we had her on too. She's like, yeah, you're not make it. She's like, I'm like out hustling to make sure my team gets paid.
Correct.
Yeah.
You work for your team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why on a lot of my business cards, even my digital one, it's like my title is lead intern. I'm not even kidding.
Oh, that's funny. Little humor.
Yeah,
you know?
you got to have some humor. But if somebody's thinking about starting a business, I mean, think long and hard about the 3 Ps: the people, the product, and the process. Because that's
Full product process.
who is going to help you along the way. Who do you need to bring in to make this happen? What product or service are you going to solve that's meaningful, that is so much better than anything else out there that people would be like, I'll buy that. And then the process, from your internal processes to your client acquisition processes and all this stuff that I'm still not good at yet. But I've learned.
You're still like a startup though. I mean, not, but like,
No,
yeah.
Perpetual startup.
I feel like I'm a perpetual startup.
Yeah.
Like, it never ends.
The hamster wheel turns
because
on.
even when you hit a artificial number in revenue, you're like, okay, cool. Then I've got it. Then you
Now I need more to
then
do more.
Then I have to do this and then this. And it's
Yeah.
like going on a quest in a video game. You're like, okay, you leveled up, but that level now comes with different challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's a perfect segue into how you found yourself in Montana now.
What a
right?
good question.
Because
I was
you've
going to
got-
talk about
you've
it.
got these
So good.
growth moments and these inflection points along your career. And then obviously you had another pretty large one that brought you to Montana. So talk a little bit about what brought you here and how
Yeah. So
you settled in Billings.
Because you were priorly just living in Minnesota, not
correct.
just
The
Minnesota,
Communist
but
People's
yeah.
Republic of Minnesota.
We were living in Minnesota,
Minnesota.
married to Morgan.
Married to Morgan.
Right, okay.
And Morgan and I got married after I got back from the Air Marshals.
Okay,
Archway
after
was
New
already
York.
up.
Okay.
Yep. And then got married, and we've been together ever since.
We love that. We love Morgan.
We all love Morgan.
Yeah. Everyone's
Do you love
fanboying
Morgan?
I
over
love Morgan
Peter. And
too.
I was like, what do you mean? Where's Morgan?
I get photos on the road of maybe dirty martini.
Oh, so good. Yeah. The Larson that we thought was non-existent after Buffalo Block, but
Yep.
it is people. It is at the granary.
So I was on the
With the
road
blue
for 3
cheese
weeks.
stuffed
And I
olives.
get photos from Morgan of Marcel and her with dirty
It
martinis.
was really
I'm like,
fun.
that sounds way more fun than what I'm doing. But
Yeah. But you're on the road a
Just
lot.
hanging out with a bunch of sweaty dudes.
100 and
Not to like digress, but I feel like in the story, people are like, well, what about Morgan when they get married? So we got
Yep.
married. And then back to Keith's question of like, then
How?
Montana, how,
so
why?
we were at SHOT Show, which is the defense industry's largest event in Las Vegas. It happens every 3rd week in January.
But not anyone can get into this
No,
thing. It's
no.
like a
Industry.
locked. Yeah.
You have to be industry. And by industry, you have to be in the defense, public safety, outdoors, etc. So we go every year, obviously, because we're in the industry. Well, I was walking by and I saw a Montana booth at the SHOT Show, and I'm like, what the hell? So I go up to the booth, and there's a guy from Commerce there, start chatting with him. I'm like, what are you guys doing? He's like, oh, we're trying to recruit businesses that believe in what Montana believes in. I'm like, oh, you guys are going to kill it here. Like, this is...
Had you been to Montana before?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was looking from going back a couple of years to 2020. I was in Minnesota. The Floyd riots were happening. Seeing the city burn, like 7 miles of burned buildings, not 7 buildings, 7 miles of destruction. The only time I've seen smoke like that come from a skyline was Iraq. And it's not something you want to see in your own state. So I was already on I'm leaving this state at some point. Morgan was a little slower on that.
Okay, well.
So she can't be perfect. But met Montana Commerce at SHOT Show, and then it was Frederick who said, well, the governor, Greg Gianforte, has a event tonight, a cocktail hour. Would you go up and say hi to him? Obviously, yes, that'd be great. Go upstairs, literally got there early, very few people around, and governor comes right up to our table, introduces himself, and it's just, I've got a photo of it. It's myself, one of my other brothers, and Gianforte, and he gives us 20 minutes uninterrupted of giving his pitch for why Montana is the best place to do business. After that 20 minutes, he goes, talks to other people in the room. I look at my brother, I'm like, we're just blown away. This is not how we understand state level politics coming from Minnesota with Tim Walz. Genuine. That was so impactful. 6 months later, I divested everything from Minnesota and moved to Montana.
Wow.
So it worked.
Go Team Montana.
Go Team Montana.
And you were like, in that moment, I'm moving to, which is great.
Yep.
Like that you had a really good experience to being relocated.
Oh, it was
into the state of Montana.
I've said it before. It was the best personal and professional decision I've ever made in my life.
Mm-hmm. And you've been here now a little over a year?
Coming up on 2.
Or
now.
two. Yeah, I don't know
2.
why I thought a year. Time flies when you have fun, you know.
It's definitely over a year and a half. But yeah, got to Montana, and that's thanks to the outreach. And then Commerce, how we got connected was that same point of contact. When I was like, okay, well, where should we look to plant our flag for the businesses? They're like, well, you should go to Billings. I'm like, well, it is the economic hub of the state. It's the largest city. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get an office space for, no, just go talk to these guys and at Rock 31, which is how we became friends.
Yeah. And how we now know you and see you when we see you.
Well, and I do think given the nature of the podcast, I'd love to dig in a little bit on what you see as the differences of doing business in Montana versus other states, because I think it's important. We do have a certain special sauce here that maybe someone that's listening to this from outside of our borders, or someone that maybe was born and raised in Montana, lives in Denver, thinking about doing something. Talk to me about the actual real differences that you experienced.
So from a high level, like in business, when you're back in Minnesota, you're just focused on the business, and then the government. Every time you have an interaction with the government on any level, it is 100% negative. It is some license you didn't get, or some BS law they just passed. That
state of Minnesota on a letter is not a happy day when you open it.
No, it's never a happy day. I mean, you're like, what now? Like what? And it literally, that's a feeling of like, what did we do now?
Yeah.
And it's this constant struggle of like, okay, are we checking all the boxes? So you're talking to the lawyers. Is there any new law that passed that we didn't know about that we have to comply with? And it got to the point where I'm spending so much time and mental energy just trying to comply with the state's never-ending cycle of new laws coming in that have nothing to do with anything other than it's a pet project.
Is that because you're in the defense and firearms world, or is that's across everything. The board?
So one of the huge tipping points in Minnesota is they passed this law for any employee it doesn't say this directly, but if you read the law, that's exactly what happens is employee you hire can take 6 months of paid vacation for all these different things with no notice. I'm like, I don't know how to budget for this.
Yeah.
Like you get one bad hire and the next day they're like, oh, I'm taking sick leave for my family for 2 months. You're like, okay. I mean, I have to pay it. All that told me was don't hire anyone in Minnesota. That's from a business perspective. And any business owner listening is going to be like, I can't budget for losing employees for 6 months, not having any idea of.
Not as a small business.
No, it would destroy me. If I have 1 or 2 of those, I'm done. It would absolutely wipe me out. So there's stuff like that. Then there's the gun laws passing in Minnesota that are just, it was so bad that one law would say one thing and another law would say another thing. And I've got a degree to read law in Minnesota. I'm pretty comfortable reading state statute. I'm like, these are contradictory laws. I don't know how to follow them. And that stress of like, what am I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
And then, but let's go to the positive. By contrast to Montana, laws are very clear, like incredibly clear to read. You will know what you have to do. I have yet to experience anybody in Montana government where I feel like they were trying to communicate with us to jam us up on something that we didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more of like, hey, here's this person if you need somebody at revenue to make sure that you're doing everything at revenue. Because we pay taxes, that's fine. The taxes are a lot less here, which is a huge benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Shameless plug, Montana, move your business, please. The regulatory environment and just the pro-business culture from the governor all the way down to like big sky economic, everybody is trying to build businesses and allow businesses to build and flourish and focus. What I've found is the culture, and culture does matter. The culture of Montana as it relates to business is so pro-business on how can we help your business grow so that you employ more people and give them meaningful, gainful employment. Because that is actually how you fight all of the social programs that all these other states are trying to do through taxation. You do it through creating real jobs, real employment, meaningful, so they can get a house, they can get food, and they can save money and build a family. That's how a state thrives. And that's what I've seen from top down. And it's the most amazing breath of fresh air. And the views aren't bad here either.
No, they're not. No, I think that's good perspective to gain, because I think for us in economic development, it's like increasing the tax base, job creation, employee retention, because you want those quality employees to stay in your community. We want them to stay in Billings and in Yellowstone County and to have opportunities. I think to your earlier point, we are a very diverse economy in Billings, and we want our residents to continue to have those opportunities in different industries. So I think those are nice to hear. We say those things, but it's nice to hear it.
Yeah, Montana's
validates.
We didn't tell Peter to say that.
No,
but it's validating. And I don't think Montana's for everyone, and that's okay.
No,
like
it shouldn't be.
Minnesota's not for everybody either, or whatever state, but those people that do want to come and do business in our state, we are excited for those conversations.
If you want to build your business, have phenomenal people as contractors, as employees, as people in government to reach out to, Montana's your place. If you love overwhelming taxation, if you love just soul-sucking regulations that don't actually help anybody, they just make it harder to do to run your business. If you love really high crime and defunding the police, Montana's not for you.
I would say too with the Montana thing and your governor piece, that I do think Montana is unique. And so are some of our other states, our neighboring states like the Dakotas, Wyoming. We are low populated and we're big. Montana is a huge state as far as like land goes.
Correct.
However, with that, we're not a very highly populated state, and you're like one call away from getting to the senators, the representatives, the governor's office. Like you're not far away from them. Like, so your experience with him at the SHOT Show is cool. And to hear that, I don't think I had heard that yet. I knew you were at SHOT Show, but I mean, he's going to those things and he's connecting with businesses. So I think like no matter what in Montana, you're really not far removed from your federal and state level government.
And what I've found as the outsider coming in, what I found was if you show that you're here to do the right thing, you're not trying to take more than you put into the system. If you're a leech or you're just trying to be transactional, not the state for you.
Extracting resources rather than adding to.
Yep. If you want a transactional business deal and just turn and burn, this is not going to be the state. This is a relationship. What I've learned, what I love, what called me here is like people actually give a shit about relationships. And to me, I'm like, money's the byproduct of a good business. But
have there been any challenges of operating your business in Montana that you were unforeseen, or because one of the conversations we have a lot, whether we're talking with new businesses thinking about relocating here, we're talking about businesses that are growing their own current operation, is we hear maybe we're a little less populous, so there's maybe fewer opportunities. There's if you're building a product you've got manufacturing constraints and supply chain things. Is there anything that you've seen that's a challenge for your business? And I know you're stubborn enough that you probably just bashed through them, but I think that would be a really interesting conversation to
from the let's take the Archway side, the travel piece, because a lot of times we're on the road for it, physically on the road because the amount of gear we're lugging. So there is an added, by contrast, if you need your business to have access to the center of the country in those major thoroughfares, you're going to add a couple hours onto that travel shipping time. If that's not a big issue for you, okay, no worries. For us, it was a trade-off. We'll put a couple more hours on the road for the quality of a healthy state, financially sound state. That was pretty easy. The airport remodel has been phenomenal. I mean,
it looks so good.
Shout out BIL.
BIL, Fly Billings.
Fly Billings. I just don't want to tell too many people about this place because
you
it's like we don't need everybody here.
They're kind of quiet. Yeah.
But so the flights out, they've been actually really good. There's a ton of connections through. Now there's direct flights to Chicago, Minneapolis, Denver, obviously Salt Lake City, super easy. I'm trying to think of, the initial push, and this is probably more unique to us, but when we were first looking for housing, it was a weird influx post-COVID.
Yeah, it was.
And so there wasn't a lot on the market. Now there's a little bit more. Obviously, interest rates suck across the country. That's not a Montana thing. But I think there's been more, just living here, I've seen more housing developments go up. And I know that's a big push from the local and the state level. Is to get more, not just affordable housing, which like Section 8, which is what everyone else calls it, but affordable to people who have jobs.
And it's like categorically, I think my husband works in it, so we were just talking about this last night, but like the affordability of it's not just like what we think of as like some of the lower, it's like based on the median income of your, anyways, so that's like a topic for later.
When I say affordable housing, I mean affordable for normal people who are doing jobs. They have a salary, they make money, they just want to have a good place to put their family.
So Peter, it's been really fun to have you on.
Thank you.
We've talked. Thanks, Keith, for joining.
Of course. Happy to.
It's fun to have you. I have a few rapid-ish fire questions for you. So my first one is, what's some of the best advice you've ever received?
Fall in love with the process, Marcel from the vault.
Keith, I definitely didn't say that.
But fall in love with the process instead of focusing on the objective all the time, because we always feel like there's that goal of like that revenue or that house or that thing you want or whatever. But if you fall in love with the process, life's just a little more enjoyable.
I think that's really good for a lot of things. What's something that excites you about Montana and the future of Montana?
The people I'm seeing that true Montanans, and then the people like me, and I'm meeting a lot of them who are political refugees or business refugees, seeing that the numbers are increasing of people who want to just help Montana stay Montana. Yeah. I think that's super exciting. One of my favorite books, and this will go into that, is Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand, where the producers of the world went on strike against the looters and they fell back to their own communities because the producers, if you're a capable person, you can survive anywhere. The people who want to just take and take and take can't. What I'm seeing in the country, especially Montana, is the best and brightest are coming to Montana to build businesses, move their families, invest in a state, and try to reinforce a state, which I think it's amazing. Like really? Photonics in Bozeman that's happening.
I know, it's way over my head even every time I
quantum computers that are coming up. Like nobody thinks Montana and quantum. I'm like, it's here.
We're living in the future.
The future is now, old man.
Manufacturing, natural resource extraction. Phenomenal. Yeah, there's some interesting things happening. And this one's not necessarily rapid fire, but what are some things you're excited about as we enter into 2026 with Archway Defense and your other companies and endeavors?
Yeah, so the 2026 is going to be fascinating from a geopolitical standpoint. Again, my head's always in kind of that counterterrorism, geopolitics because it does affect us. But the re-onshoring of our industrial base is fascinating to me, to see that we're finally taking that seriously. COVID woke us up to, why do we not make any medication in the U.S.?
Yeah.
For our people? That's absurd. Why don't we make computer chips in the U.S.? So reindustrialization of 2026 or some other projects that we might be working on that are pretty fascinating. And then for Archway side, our schedule is already being built out, and it's wild how much the word of mouth has been compounding over the years. So there's some strategery I'm looking at on bringing on some more full-time people, which will be help give me some breathing room so I don't have to be on the road 200 nights a year.
I know, which is wild.
It's insane
How much you're gone. Yeah. But doing good work.
Yeah. And then on the deep attic side, it's going through those not restructuring, but going through that reinvigoration of focus. And we have some exciting stuff on the horizon on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, one thing we were talking about on Archway side that I'd really like to do, and this is, by the way, it's as selfish as it gets because I simply want to do it.
Yeah, well, let's hear it.
So we travel the country, coast to coast, border to border, training state, local, and federal law enforcement on the Archway Defense side. Just got off the road for 3 weeks, including Indiana, Texas, and then doing courses up in Billings here.
Private jet. No, I'm kidding.
Yep. We do need a private jet.
Or two.
Yeah, because if you have one, you're not serious.
Might as well get two.
One is none, two is one. So we had an idea in 2025, didn't come to fruition, so we're going to put it into 2026. But the goal is to train 1,000 cops in the state of Montana and try to do it in a month.
Wow.
Which is a lofty goal.
I think you can do it.
My team and I could do it.
Yeah, Archway can do it. Archway Defense.
So
you do it.
That would be pretty fun. And that would all be through sponsorship. So it'd be no impact to the taxpayers outside of if the agency has to pay them for training time, which they have to do anyway.
Yeah.
But we want to invest in the public safety in a way that doesn't cost the taxpayers anything. And it'd be really cool if in 2026 we have 1,000 cops that we made better to protect their citizens and to get home.
I think as a plug, anyone out there in the state of Montana that's listening to this or adjoining states that want to travel, that's something that I think we can use our platform to help Peter and Archway. So if you're connected in any way, shape, or form to state, local, regional law enforcement,
or even attorney generals. I mean, anybody,
park rangers, all of those. I think that's Peter and I worked on that goal a little bit towards the end of the summer, and I think it's such an admirable goal and something that I think would be a real feather in the cap for a lot of people. It would be great to see it happen. It would be a huge value to the state, and then all of the entities that have worked so hard to get you here and keep you here. I think that just is another validation of we found the right fit. We brought them here. Here's something we're doing.
It's part of that giving back.
Super cool.
I want to give more to the state than I ever took, and that's our job.
That was the least rapid fire answer of all time. And I'm sorry for interjecting.
No, that one wasn't. Yeah, no, I think that's great. If people want to get connected with you, pimp yourself out.
Okay. For Archway Defense, it's archwaydefense.com, Deep Attic. All social media handles are Archway Defense, Deep Attic. But yeah, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, X, and don't really do anything on Facebook because it's meta. It's too much, but if you're in law enforcement or if there's anything, by shameless plug, if you're in a faith-based organization, we give away, we created a safety and security plan that any church or faith-based organization, if you want to audit, are we doing the right thing? We'll just hit us up at archwaydefense.com. We'll literally give it to you for free.
I love it.
Very cool.
Awesome. Peter, it's been great. Thank you.
You're a rock star.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for listening to The Vault. Connect with us on Facebook at The Vault at 201 North Broadway or Instagram at TheVault_201. Or check us out on our website, thevault@201.com, where you can subscribe to our weekly newsletter. See you next time.